Hello and welcome to TechFunnel.com's interview series. My name is Danny White, and today we have the opportunity to talk to Sarah Brennan. Sarah is the founder and CEO of Acceler Insights, a strategy and advisory firm focused on improving the conversation around talent, technology, and business outcomes. Her innovative business and brand-focused design of corporate talent strategies led to work with corporate clients ranging from startups to Fortune 10, as well as numerous HCM vendors. Welcome, Sarah. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Awesome. So tell us a little bit more about yourself and your work as a consultant and a speaker on shaping the future of work.
Yeah, so I actually came into the industry right in college. Believe it or not, I was kind of fell into this and have loved it ever since. And right now, a lot of what I've been doing for the last decade is really looking at how the new trends around technology, as well as consumer behavior and just social changes are coming to impact businesses, and what we can do to really not just hire the right type of talent, but retain them and become better places to work along the way.
Absolutely. So you founded Acceler Insights in 2011. What was that process like? Tell us how the company kind of was created and evolved over the past couple of years.
Yeah, so my first consulting company that I started in my 20s was acquired, and I had the opportunity to go and become head of strategy for a talent management vendor, and then went and worked for one of the large analyst firms. When that firm was going to be acquired, I kind of sat down and I looked at my options and decided it was time to really do something different. And so for me, it was a natural to start another company, Acceler Insights, and to really take what I loved about all of my previous jobs and create something totally different and unique in the industry so that I was using the best of me for what the companies and clients needed.
Awesome. So in January, LinkedIn released their annual Global Talent Trends 2019 report. And they noted that soft skills, work flexibility, pay transparency, and anti-harassment were like the four top trends that would transform the modern workplace. Do you think that this remains the same now, or are there other areas that human resource professionals and executives should really be looking at?
You know, I think that is definitely on the right track. I think there's a lot of things that we have to be mindful of as HR practitioners, as well as executives, just in general, that are now trying to navigate this new world of talent. You know, I think I would take the anti-harassment and really extend that out. And I think what we are being asked for and what companies are looking to make changes of is not just anti-harassment, but true inclusion. Right. True diversity, true inclusion, not just like make them be nice to me, but make everybody feel welcomed and part of it. And beyond gender, beyond race, going into socioeconomics, going into educational backgrounds, going into military and religious backgrounds, and really looking at things in a way we previously didn't really understand quite as fully the impact. Again, not just on hiring or some of the tangibles, but now we're able to tie this over to actual see bottom line business impact by doing things the right way.
Absolutely.
Which the C-suite actually enjoys seeing.
Yeah, absolutely, they do. So
people like making money. It's weird.
Yeah, everything has to do with the bottom line. You work with a lot of new technologies and companies that are in the tech space. What are the new technologies and initiatives that you think companies should be focused on over the next couple of years?
Yeah, so a lot of what we do at Acceler Insights is looking at specifically around talent and work technologies, the different type of offerings that are available and how they can integrate into a corporate HR or a corporate business team's tech stack, or the different types of technology that they're buying. And so I get a really unique look at both sides, kind of behind the scenes of new technology that's coming out, as well as what companies are actually having work for them. I think first and foremost, before you go into adding any type of new technology, I think one of the biggest mistakes that companies make is actually trying to add too much when they have a broken process. These new technologies, we look at AI and we look at kind of some of the machine learning and some of these things that help automate. If you have a bad process and you're not doing things the right way to start with, it will actually compound it and make it worse.
Yeah.
And so you kind of want to, a lot of companies miss that first step of just calming down, taking a breather, look and make sure that we're making decisions the right way, and then jumping in full force behind them. But I think what I just mentioned are really the things that are going to have some of the biggest impact. Anything that's helping to automate, to make it quicker, make it faster. Unemployment is at record lows right now, which makes it really hard to find talent in any capacity, especially if you get into some of those unique type of roles. But I've been through this. This isn't my first low unemployment, where we will go to a point where there's high unemployment. It's actually just as challenging to recruit and retain when there's high unemployment, because people are afraid to make a move. And so making sure your process and the technology is streamlined and that you're treating both your current employees and also candidates in a very similar light to you would your customers, and having positive experiences all around is really, really key, an underlying goal of all of the new technology.
Awesome. So in that same way, what are things or initiatives that companies should be ignoring over the next couple of years?
I think this is a hard question to answer, because I think this really varies company to company. I can go into one organization and we really need to focus on chatbots and on assessments and having everything be done via text. And I could go into the next company and there's nothing further than what they need because of who they're trying to attract or who their current employee base is. I think the biggest thing everybody should avoid is trying to jump onto every technology fad that's coming. Really make sure, again, going back to the last answer also, really make sure that what you're doing and the decisions you're making are right for your business outcomes, not just because you're hearing it talked about at conferences or reading blogs on it or kind of hot new technology. It's a really hard balance to be mindful of what technology you need, but not be fearful to move forward. And I think that's probably one of the biggest challenges and one of the biggest reasons we are brought in, kind of like a technology coach, I guess, to make sure that they feel confident that they're making the right type of decisions, not to make the decisions for them.
Right. So you mentioned chatbots earlier. That, along with, things like digital interviewing, including video screening, video assessments, and are some areas in which HR executives and professionals are trying to understand the value of that within their day-to-day business operations. Are there other products and technologies that you think the HR professional as a whole need to understand more to be more effective?
I think those are really, really key if we're talking about kind of recruiting and sourcing, being able to better understand how can we speed the process up? How can we simplify? It's not uncommon for somebody to apply and not hear back for 3, 4, 5 weeks, if ever. So how do we take the process and shorten it so that people are getting some sort of response back within 2 or 3 days? And how on the back end for the recruiters or the HR people at these organizations, how do we not basically hand them over, hey, here's 1,000 people to go through? How do we really create quality and make sure that what they're seeing is prioritized based on what they actually need and the people that are the right fit? And so that's really where those technologies that you mentioned, when used correctly, really can come into play. I think beyond that, as we move past just the recruiting piece and we look more at HR technology, chatbots really are something that is going to become key. I mean, imagine your HR team isn't spending all of their time responding to somebody asking questions about, like, where's that document about my benefits, or where would I find this again? Where they can go into a chat bot of some sort and they can just type in like benefits 2020 and there's some basic questions preloaded. The forms are in there, the documents are in there,
Mm-hmm.
and your employees are able to have access just like they would in all other aspects of their life, right? It's kind of like a built-in Google, but it's only for your organization.
Right.
And so if you can create some of these type of things, it's going to allow the HR teams to do less of kind of the busy work and
Mm-hmm.
allow them to really get more strategic, to focus on the soft skills, the inclusion initiatives, the talent initiatives that really are going to help shift and change the bottom line.
Awesome. So earlier you mentioned about the HR tech stack and making sure that how you make sure that companies are having the right technology and not just including everything that they hear from conferences and stuff in their daily process. So what do you think are some of the specific tech products in the HR industry that professionals should be considering purchasing or even replacing in their daily operations?
Yeah, I think that first and foremost, you have to have some sort of core HR system,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I think from company to company, at some organizations, it makes sense to have all of this in one type of a product.
Right.
And for others, it doesn't. There's a lot of conversation in our industry of, do we have kind of all in one? Do we need a full suite system? Is it better?
Mm-hmm.
Is it worse? And the answer is always, it depends, which I know is such a cop-out answer, and nobody ever wants to hear that.
Yeah.
But it really, really does on what is most important to you, because not all products are equal in all areas. And so you have to kind of take a look and feel, but you need to have some sort of core HR solution just to manage your employees
Mm-hmm.
overall. You need to have some sort of recruiting solution. An applicant tracking system is kind of the entry level into that.
Right.
And those are a huge range, right? There's very low cost ones, there's moderate, there's very
Mm-hmm.
high end. One of the things that I will say within recruiting technology is the more you spend does not always mean a better product.
Correct. Yes.
So make sure you're finding something that fits exactly for you. And I think one of the biggest mistakes people make there also is asking on social forums like, who do you use? What do you use?
Mm-hmm.
Because what works really well for one company and how they hire does not necessarily translate in the same way to the next.
Right.
For companies that are really focused on training and reskilling your workforce, you need an LMS or a learning management system
Mm-hmm.
to really help take care of all of those things. Obviously, performance management, companies that are getting more strategic are going to have succession programs. Within the recruiting space alone, there are about 40 different subcategories that you can look at for different types of technology in your
Mm-hmm.
stack, which really varies. The average company is going to have somewhere between 10 and 15 different types of HR technologies in their HR tech stack. And that's starting with companies at, 1,000, 2,000 employees,
Mm-hmm.
Because each really does serve a little bit unique of a function.
Right. What's one thing that you wish you knew when you started your company? You've been in the HR industry now for quite a long time. What's one thing that you wish you knew when you started that you know now?
How hard it would be not to scale.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of times there's a belief that if you're starting a company, your goal is to get as big as possible, as quick as possible.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, I had younger children when I started this. And so it was actually much harder not to grow and to keep a kind of a moderate pace.
Mm-hmm.
And just keep a very small team instead of growing up into a larger kind of consulting company that was going to go through acquisition or anything until my kids were out of school. And
Gotcha.
it never even dawned on me, which I think there's a lot of entrepreneurs that I work with and that
Mm-hmm.
I talk to, and it's a conversation that just isn't commonly had. But I wish at that point somebody would have said, it's okay. It's okay to
Right.
not want to scale massive. It's okay to have this be a little bit more of a boutique agency for a while as you're focused on that.
Mm-hmm.
And that it's an acceptable way to run a business for a season until you're ready kind of to make those next steps.
Awesome. Sarah, thank you so much for joining us today and for sharing your insights. Where can people find out more about your company and about you?
Absolutely. Online on Twitter, you could find me at I'm So Sarah. And our website address is acceler.com, ACCELIR.com. And I also am the founder of HR Tech Blog, where we dive into a lot of these things and offer and ask people to send in questions. And we do weekly question Q&A answers on issues, everything from design thinking to what it actually means to buy new technology.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Sarah, for joining us. We really do appreciate it. Guys, thanks for your listening to this interview. For these and other interviews and topics, please visit us at techfunnel.com. You can connect with us across all of the social media networks, LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, and subscribe to our weekly newsletter. Thank you.
Thank you.